On your marks. Get set.
What the opposition is. Security and just know what our position is. More than conquerors, so say no longer rulers. No more flight, but we fight faithfully for the future. We win.
Welcome back. Yes. To Bench Perspective. Our perspective. Yes. Your perspective. This is Bench Perspective. My twins back, y'all. I'm here. Going to love. My twins back. He ain't going nowhere. Playoffs are going down right now.
Yes, sir.
Playoffs are going down. I hope your team's doing well. I know mine is. Go Warriors. Go Warriors. All day, every day. But if your team is not doing well and they have players who are up for free agency possibly, you might want to be a little angry right now.
They might be making some moves.
They might be making some moves, and we want to discuss players who might be making moves this summer if things aren't going their way, and the ramifications of their movement. Hey, what do you think about who might be moving and the ramifications if they do move?
Well, one name I would like to list is, I'm not going to go with LeBron James first. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go with Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
For a while now, Kawhi Leonard he's been cleared by doctors. He has been cleared, but for whatever reason, my question is the same as your question. Why isn't he playing? Doesn't he want to give his team all they got, a swinging chance in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact that it's against the Warriors, the defending champions. It's besides the fact, any true fan of the game, of the sport, competitiveness, they want to see the all-star player on a franchise.
And that's Kawhi.
Get out there, exactly. Get out there and give his team a fighting chance. His average, if he was to give that team, the San Antonio Spurs, last game they lost by 13 points?
Yeah.
Kawhi averages well over that.
It was actually not as close as the score said, because they put their scrub squad or the subs in at the end of the game.
Right.
But you make a good point. You do want your best player in the game, and he says he's injured, or his group says he's injured.
Right.
But there is suspicion coming from the players on the Spurs team, coming from Ginobili and Tony Parker. They had that players only meeting. In which they called him out and stuff like that. So, he might. I'm looking at everything that's going on in San Antonio. And I said, hey, you have an unhappy player. Where might he go next year?
Okay, that question, where I would like to see Kawhi go. Kawhi is a champion, for one. He already has a ring, okay? He's a champion. I like Kawhi because he's a twofold player. And just to answer your question, I think the Eastern Conference needs some more All-Stars. I'm just gonna be honest, and I believe with the two-way player that he is, offensive and defensive, we all know that to be true.
Yeah.
Because what he did against LeBron, and when he was locking LeBron up and he was still scoring, that was his coming out party. We know him to be that player. I feel like he can bang in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And I really feel like
where
the process is not a bad destination for him. I really feel that way.
Philly.
I really feel that way.
And why? Why do you feel that way?
I feel that way because also with his experience, I feel like Philly lacks that go-to. We all know Embiid is a beast.
Yeah.
We know he can get his when he wants. We know Simmons he's going to improve.
He's up and coming. He's up and coming.
But with the Kawhi Leonard and the defense that he plays, I really feel like he can complete the process, what they have going on right now.
Okay.
So that's just one of the names of people and players that can be on the move pretty soon.
Kawhi Leonard, when he played in the playoffs last year. He was injured this year, not the playoffs, excuse me, but the All-Star game.
Okay.
He didn't want to finish the game because they weren't playing real basketball. That's the kind of player that Kawhi Leonard is. He wants to play smash mouth basketball. He wants to compete, and that's all he wants to do. You don't hear much from him off the court. You don't hear much from him on the court.
That's true.
He just wants to play basketball. He wants to win.
And his game speaks for him.
And so I feel like he can fit in a lot of different systems.
True.
Because of the type of player that he is. Because he's not necessarily the alpha who says, my way, I'm going to lead the team. I have to have the ball. That's not his personality,
Right.
and you see that because he's playing for the Spurs.
Right.
He worked well in their system, and so him going to Philly, I'm not against it.
Right.
But I would like to see him play for the Boston Celtics. I would like to see him play for the Boston Celtics, and I know that they don't really want to give up, possibly Tatum or Brown, but those guys have huge upside. But you're talking about Kawhi Leonard, who also has a huge upside as well.
Right.
This guy's not finished growing. You look at his stats; each year is going up in points per game, and he's learning. And he's turned 26 this year.
Right.
So he's still relatively young, and he can play both sides of the court.
It'd be a wise investment for any franchise.
So I would like to see them try. I would like to see the Celtics do well because they're like one piece away. If Gordon wasn't hurt, you would see their full potential this year.
You really would.
And with those, rookies and sophomores, kind of playing, you will get to see more of what they can bring. So if you're winning now and you want to compete against the Warriors, I think the addition of a guy like Kawhi Leonard, it definitely wouldn't hurt. And he plays both sides of the ball.
That's true.
I would like to see them try to put something together for him.
Kawhi Leonard is in my top 5 right now in the league. That's in the league, not of all time, in the league currently right now. Matter of fact, I feel like Kawhi Leonard is my 3rd best player in the league right now.
Yeah.
So many players, they play offense with no defense and vice versa, but he plays both sides of the ball.
He really does.
So he'll be a good investment for anyone. So who's another player you think is on the move?
You said Philadelphia, and there's a lot of talk about OKC and the lack of chemistry they have with Russell Westbrook. And if I'm Paul George, I'm unhappy because a Russell dominated or led team, I don't think they can win a championship because he's not mature enough and aware of himself enough. He wants to, take the last shot. He wants to, in the fourth quarter, be the guy.
Okay.
And I don't feel like he's self-aware to say, the system, the team is what wins the games in these situations. I don't necessarily feel like, hey, he's padding his stats. I just feel like he feels like he's the go-to guy and the guy to do everything that needs to be done.
Okay.
And so I don't feel like Paul George should stay there because I don't feel like a Russell-led team where he's the best player can win. Okay. I don't. And so if I'm Paul George, I would like to see him in Philadelphia.
Ooh.
I would like to see him play for Philadelphia because he has shown himself to be able to be, he's not the guy on the team, and he's not going to challenge Simmons. He's not going to challenge Joel Embiid. I feel like he can work well within a system, and I feel like, he will be a great fit for Philadelphia.
Okay.
Now, I know he wants to go to LA. He said as much.
Right.
But if he goes to LA, I'm going to be disappointed because it's going to show me that he's not really interested in winning.
Okay.
Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, all of these young players, they're young.
Right.
And they're not going to win next year. They're not going to win the year after that. It's going to be something similar to Philadelphia in that it was a process.
Okay.
And they're further away from that process being complete than the LA Lakers are. So if Paul George does that, although he wants to go to LA, I know that's home, I'm going to be disappointed. It's going to tell me all I need to know about him.
As far as Paul George is concerned. But first, before Paul George, bro, you mentioned Russell Westbrook, okay? Mr. Triple-Double. I have no fault and find no fault in a guy that with that much confidence that chooses and wants to be the guy, as you stated. And he wants to put the team on his back and say, come on, and try to get those wins. I have no problem with that. So I'm going to put that out there.
I don't have a problem with you trying to be the man, but you also have to be self-aware. Okay. Michael Jordan didn't do it all by himself. LeBron James hasn't done it all by himself.
This is true.
There is nobody who can. And so you're not going to win against the Warriors with isolation basketball, with the pieces that you have. You team with those great players, they got 2 MVPs, and they're still playing team basketball.
Right.
You can't play isolation ball and then go beat them. Nah, it's not going to happen. You're not good enough.
I got you. And if I come back to that style of play later on, and I'll come back to that. But right now, Paul George, it's funny that you mentioned the Celtics.
Okay.
I feel like Paul George can be a beautiful fit. Awesome fit.
I disagree.
On the Boston Celtics.
I disagree.
I feel that way. Of course, they would have to get rid of a couple pieces, maybe a piece, maybe who knows. They'll have to get rid of a little bit in order to acquire him. But I feel like with with Paul George, you got Irving, and you got a Gordon Hayward. That man is bad. Healthy, right? And if they could get some sort of low presence, some physical low presence, a smart player, I feel like they will make that move because I see offense. And Paul George is not what Kawhi is defensively, but he can play defense.
Yeah, he can.
You know what I mean? So I feel like they would add offensively if they got it clicking at the point guard position, the guard position, Gordon Hayward where he is. They got somebody down low that wants to be physical and match up with the other 5 players in the Eastern Conference and in the Western Conference that they could be something special.
And I disagree with you because right now Paul George looks to be very similar to the players that they already have in Jaylen Brown, Rozier, and Tatum. Those guys look like they're headed down the same path to be Paul George's. No. Yes, they do. What aren't they doing?
They will not be a franchise player. None of those players that you just listed will be a franchise player.
How do you know?
Bro, you just
How do you know?
You just know. Okay, I'm saying this. When Lonzo came in the league, right? Even when he came in the league, did you feel like Lonzo was going to be the face of an organization? Even though this is rookie season, even those players that you named have been in a couple years, But I don't feel like
this is Tatum's first year, and he's shown himself to be, a potential early in the season, a potential rookie of the year.
Okay,
not so much the full season going against Ben Simmons, whose people are talking about is, potentially an all-time great player who has that type of potential. So going against someone who, Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons, no, you're not going to, win that, but you will land on great footing. That's who he was in.
That's a big statement
in contention with.
As of right now, I don't see any one of those players being the face of an organization. Paul George was the face of an organization, and he took his role and he walked in it and he stood up straight. He was like, I am the Indiana Pacers. That's what he did.
But they didn't win anything, and now he's on a team with Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony. He's doing well. He's doing his career average. He's like a little bit of last year he was 24 points. This year he's like 22 points.
Okay.
So those aren't scrub numbers or anything like that. Those are good. Those are really good numbers. But it's 22. You can't tell me that you're going to give up the potential of Tatum, who looks like he has a very high ceiling, and another player on your team for someone who
proven. That's proven.
He is proven. But Tatum is doing a great job. These other guys are doing a great job. So if you're looking to just win, he's like 27. Paul George's like 27. So he's still young too.
That's true.
He's still got 5 years of greatness or playing at the same level. But I'm not going to give up them for someone who's going to cost me more money.
Okay, for one,
he's going to cost you a lot more money.
Okay. You make a great point.
Money.
Okay, you make a great point.
Okay.
But teams will, owners will, okay, give up young talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's unproven. Allah, okay, that's for a proven player. Allah, the Cleveland Cavaliers. What's my man's name on the Timberwolves?
Butler,
No,
Teague,
the young
Wiggins.
Wiggins. He, of course, this is one move I truly believe LeBron was like, I'm coming back to town. Get this rookie that's unproven. Bring in K-Love.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I say I know owners are willing to do that.
But how many games had Wiggins played? How many NBA games had he played?
I got you.
None.
I got you.
There's a difference between seeing them on the court.
This is true.
And Tatum does not look like the average rookie, which is why he was, in the runnings or in contention for Rookie of the Year at one point in time. You're not the average rookie.
This is true.
You're above average.
I'm just saying that I know owners would be willing to give up young talent, that even potential, better players, that they're going to grow, of course. They look great right now for proven players, and I feel like they will make that move.
Yeah.
For Paul George, and that's just where I feel he can be.
It's funny, we both said, the Celtics, and I just saw Kawhi going there because I feel like his ceiling's higher than Paul George's.
Okay.
He can do the same thing offensively that Paul George can do, for as far as numbers and, helping your offense. He can play within a system, and but his defense is so much better. Paul George is no Kawhi Leonard. And they're both going to cost you around the same amount of money.
Right.
So that's why I chose Kawhi Leonard over Paul George for that system, is because he's going to give you more. But I'm not saying that Paul George wouldn't fit there also. I'm just saying that I wouldn't pay the money for him giving up these guys who are going to cost less for someone who's going to cost more and probably, do something similar.
Okay.
So, that's why I said that.
And finally, a third person, all-star, okay.
The man,
LeBron James, may possibly be on the move. I want to go on the record right now and say he's leaving.
Call security!
Where do I want to see him land? I want to see him land with either, and I'm going to put this out there. I don't think he will land with the Paul George. If he goes to LA and they clear some space, of course, that could happen.
Yeah.
But what's left? Is it a Brandon Ingram? Are you getting rid of Lonzo? Who's dispensable?
They have a lot of cap space.
They do.
And Brook Lopez, who's, should be one of their most expensive players, is also leaving. I mean, they don't have any, huge names on their team who aren't going to be free agents this year.
Okay.
Brook Lopez is going to be gone. He's not, B-man, IT, he's a free agent.
Right.
And he wants, big bucks, but, he's not going to get big bucks. So they don't have they have a lot of cap space. They can do a whole lot.
They can do a lot.
This offseason.
And if that's the case, it's a big market.
Yeah.
LeBron can be in a big market. I mean, he's the face of he's the face of the NBA right now. Really, if you still ask me, he's still the face of the NBA.
Yeah.
So I want him to land with another all-star.
Yeah.
I want, me personally, I like LeBron James. I want him to, land on his feet. I don't want him to go somewhere he's not going to be. I don't want that for him anymore. The rest of his career, as far as I'm concerned, I want to see him in a position to win championships. And I think that I would want him before anything with a Kawhi Leonard. And today,
there's been a lot of talk about that.
Today, they call each other. They tweet each other. Any other platform of social media, I'm getting in contact if I'm LeBron James with Kawhi Leonard, because I know he does it on both sides of the ball, and I don't have to challenge him. If he's out the way,
that's deadly.
We saw what Kawhi Leonard did to LeBron James.
That's deadly.
Come on now, he's not stopping him, but
I don't think LeBron James should go anywhere, because if he goes to LA, even though they have a lot of cap space, he goes to LA, what do they give up? Because LA is going to have to trade something for Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard is not a free agent.
Okay.
He's just someone who's disgruntled on his current space.
Right.
And so they're going to have to trade some assets to get something.
Right.
And I'm not giving up Kawhi Leonard for nothing just because he wants to go.
Right.
no way
Right.
am I giving up this player who just wants to go. No way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to have to get something in return, and that might deplete the bench and a lot of the talent that LA currently has, that has so much potential.
Right.
And so who are you going to get to supplement Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James?
That's true.
And you said you wanted him to contend for championships. Well, baby, you ain't getting nothing unless you have some support from the bench and from some role players on the
That's
team.
true.
Not in today's game.
That's
so
true.
if I'm him, I'm staying my butt right there in Cleveland, or a lot of people have been talking about Philadelphia, but
Yes.
I don't see it.
And I'm glad you
I don't
brought that
see
up.
it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have never seen LeBron James with a dominant big man, a dominant five. You think back, crowd, think back, audience, think back, bench perspective fans, think back. When LeBron came in the league, how many dominant five centers has LeBron been with?
Do this.
And also, don't talk to me about no old decrepit Shaquille O'Neal
Or
When they-
Ilgauskas.
Please don't.
Or Ilgauskas
Please
was
don't.
great.
So the fact that LeBron will have that to take away from, I feel like he can help LeBron stay in the league a little bit longer to take some of that scoring off of him because Embiid can score at will. There's nobody holding Embiid. And he also has a shooter in Reddick's there, and we know that LeBron James, he will find you. He loves to be around a shooter, a la the Heat, Mike Miller, Chalmers, Ray.
That's his thing. That's his thing.
So I feel like that could work for him.
I'm not saying it couldn't work, but I'm just saying, why would Ben Simmons want that as a player? I know that you can sit under, LeBron James, get his
Under his wing,
tutelage and
yeah,
everything
most
like
definitely.
that. But why do that when you could potentially be LeBron James in the future? You can't tell me this guy doesn't have the potential. The potential is definitely there.
Okay.
He has the vision. He has a passing ability. What he doesn't have right now is a shot, which can be developed.
It can
A
be.
lot of players who are like him come into the league and they develop a shot, so he can do that too.
Okay.
But it's like they place very similar roles, in which doesn't leave anything for Ben Simmons to do. What is he going to do? He's not a jump shooter. He was 0 of 11 in the regular season from three-point land. This guy is not a jump shooter. So what role is he going to have on the team where LeBron James likes to dish to a three-point shooter? He's not that.
Right.
So what's he going to do?
I think he'll be a slasher. I think he'll be a person that you always have to account for in a Ben Simmons. I'm not talking about three-point line extended. That's not what I'm talking about.
He's not a good, mid-range shooter yet.
But like you just said, he can develop that.
Yeah, but LeBron James is a win now. This Philadelphia team is the process. That's what they're, the trust the process, trust
Right.
the process. You hear their mantra all the time.
Right.
And by adding a LeBron James or someone like that, it seems like you're rushing the process. LeBron James ain't no young, he's no spring chicken.
Right. But LeBron James has those young players that are on Philadelphia. And I feel like the offseason, it's just like when we were younger and you knew that coming back after the summer, somebody was going to be taller, somebody was going to be faster. That could happen in the offseason. The only reason that won't happen in the offseason is if you don't work at it.
Yeah.
If you're on somewhere on a banana boat and you just feel like and you're not in there getting up shots, Philadelphia can be better. Ben Simmons can be better next year with LeBron on that team.
They can be better without LeBron too. They can be better they're going to be better next year without LeBron as well.
Okay.
I'm not saying they wouldn't be better. Matter of fact, I feel like they would definitely be favorites to win the East.
Okay.
And with all that talent, and they do have three-point shooters.
They do.
They would definitely be threatening to the Warriors because of their size, their three-point shooting ability, but it seems like they're already headed down that path even without LeBron James.
That is true. I do not disagree with that, but I feel like LeBron he'll just thrive. He'll just do so well in that system.
A
So,
question that must be asked in addition to that is, what do they have to give up to get LeBron James as far as the money?
Right.
So, these are just some of the moves that could be made, this off season, and I'm hoping that he doesn't go anywhere.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. Either they move conferences, stay in the same conference, same team, they join together and pair up, or they stay where they are.
Yeah.
And so it can be very interesting. A lot of different angles, a lot of different pieces.
Yeah.
Has to be shifted and moved to acquire, do away with. So, that's our perspective. We want your perspective. This right here. This is his perspective.
No longer rulers, no more flight, but we fight faithfully for the future. We win.